Hey everybody, welcome to Music with Mindseed. Today we're going to be covering a basic music theory concept, and that is the musical alphabet. So if you're an advanced or intermediate player, you've heard this a million times, you know it forward and backwards. But if you're a beginner, this is a great place to start as you're going to be carrying this knowledge with you in your musical journey moving forward. So before we get into it, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a comment if you have any questions or anything to add. So let's get right into it. To learn the musical alphabet, I'm going to assume that everybody knows their normal alphabet pretty well. So just to review, we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, or Z. Now the musical alphabet is actually a lot easier than that because it's like your normal alphabet, but we only go up to the letter G. So the musical alphabet is just A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And just memorize that. It goes from A to G. Easy enough. And this is kind of a repeating cycle. So once we get to G, we begin again with A. So we'd have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that cycle repeats. Now, the musical alphabet gets a little bit more complicated when we include what's called sharps. And we'll be exploring sharps in a separate video, but for now, it's easier just to memorize the notes that do not have sharps. And there are only two notes that don't have sharps. Those two notes are B and E. So if we memorize that, B does not have a sharp and E does not have a sharp, it becomes a lot easier to fill in the rest of that. So let's do that together. So after A, we have A sharp. B does not have a sharp, so we're going to leave that one alone. C does have a sharp. D does have a sharp. E does not have a sharp. We leave that alone. After F, we have F sharp. And after G, we have G sharp. So including the sharps, your musical alphabet becomes A, A sharp, B. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. F, F sharp, G, G sharp. So those are all the notes of the musical alphabet, regardless of what instrument you're playing. Okay, so that can be piano, guitar, voice, doesn't matter. Okay, so those are your sharps. Now in music, we also have what's called flats. And we'll be exploring flats in a separate video as well. But again, easier to just memorize the two notes that do not have flats. And those would be C and F. So memorize that C does not have a flat and F does not have a flat. And now that we know that, let's fill in the rest of these together. So keep in mind that the flats are going to be using the second note. So for example, after A, we have B flat. Okay, so we're using the further note as the reference point. So this is B flat. C does not have a flat. We're not going to add anything there. D does have a flat. E does have a flat. F does not have a flat. We're not going to put anything before it. G does have a flat. And A does have a flat. So we could put A flat there, right? Or we could add it to the beginning, A flat there. I think it kind of makes more sense just for our purposes today to kind of lay it out that way. So if we're going off the flats, your musical alphabet is A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat. That's if you're using the flats. Okay, so just memorize those rules when it comes to the sharps and the flats, and that's going to be pretty helpful. Now moving onward, we're going to have to do a kind of cursory introduction to the idea of enharmonic equivalents. And again, we'll explore that in a separate video more in depth. But for the time being, we just need to know that a note A sharp is the exact same note as B flat. Okay, so it's not a different sound, it's not a different pitch, it's two different names that we're assigning to the exact same note. As another example, C sharp is the exact same note as D flat. So again, it's one note with two different ways of naming them. So let's fill in our entire musical alphabet using both sharps and flats, so enharmonic equivalents. So after A, we know that we have A sharp, but we can also call A sharp B flat. Again, this is one note with two different names. B doesn't have a sharp, we're going to leave that alone. After C, we have C sharp. Well, what's its enharmonic equivalent? D flat. After D, we have D sharp. What's its enharmonic equivalent? E flat. E does not have a sharp, but F does. What's its enharmonic equivalent? G flat. G does have a sharp. What's its enharmonic equivalent? A flat. So this right here is the entire musical alphabet, including your sharps and flats, your enharmonic equivalents, and this will never change regardless, again, of the instrument you're playing. So this applies to guitar, piano, bass, vocals, oboe, tuba, doesn't matter. Okay, so just memorize the rules when it comes to your musical alphabet in general. It goes from A to G. Then memorize your rules for the sharps, memorize the rules for the flats, and you can practice filling in the entire musical alphabet on your own. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, drop it in the comments. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next Music with Mindseed video.